Well, good afternoon everyone. I'm just trying to show you how to calibrate or recalibrate this. It's the Erbauer EMIS254S mitre saw, chop saw, compound mitre saw, whatever you want to call it. Mine needed recalibrating because the cuts weren't 90 degrees, so I've decided it's time to have a little bit of sort out and get it as it should be. Right then, a couple of things before we start that you're going to need in order to do this is you need a square, and it's a hex driver, screwdriver, hex spanner, I don't know what you want to call it. Just a ordinary piece of pine. This is 119 mil, and just a bit of spare that I had lying around just to make sure that the cuts are they're supposed to be 90 degrees when I've finished. Right, and first of all, what you've got to do is to make sure that saw, before you do anything, is unplugged. Okay, safety first. Don't blame me if you chop your fingers off because you haven't undone your or unplugged your saw before you do anything. Right, next off is you're going to need to grab your hex driver, screwdriver, whatever you want to call it, hex spanner, because these two nuts, bolts, screws, whatever you want to call them, these are what you need to undo. You've got 1, 2 there, and you've also got another 1, 2 there on either side, because you need to make sure that they're undone, because this fence needs to be able to move around slightly. And also, when you've finished, you're going to need to reset this. This is your gauge marker, okay, just to make sure that you're, after you've finished setting up this bit, this needs to be realigned. Okay, it's dead easy to do, not a problem. So, like I said, I'm not going to do this because I've just recently set mine up, so it's all smashing 90 degrees as it should be. So, first of all, undo these either side. Okay, there and there, and when you've done that, then you need to lock your blade. Pull your handle down and push that in. That will lock everything into place. Okay, so next of all, you need to grab your square. Okay, make sure you set it so the heel of the square is right on the very end. Alright, because it needs to be an exact 90 degrees. If that is, the ruler's poking out slightly, then obviously you're not going to get a true measurement of what you need to be doing. So next on, you've got to bear with me because I'm trying to do this with one hand, because for some reason I've not been able to stand my phone up to be able to record properly. So you've locked the blade in position. What you need to do is push the heel, that's this bit here, that's the heel of the square, right up against the blade. Now make sure that you don't get the tooth of the blade touching the heel, because that will give you a false reading. Okay, it's only be about half a mil or so, but it's still half a mil that it will be out. So you need to make sure that the ruler is pushed against the fence and the heel is pushed against the blade. So when you've done that, then, because don't forget you've unscrewed these two and the same on the other side, this, you'll have quite a bit of give in the fence. Don't worry about this little grub screw. What that is for is your extra bit of fence, your sliding bit of fence. All that does is just makes it a little bit stiffer. When tighten that up, it just makes it a little bit stiffer to move it in and out. Don't worry about that, you don't need to touch that. Okay, so once you've put the heel against the blade and the ruler against the fence, then you start messing around with these on either side. Okay, this is all connected, so once you move this bit on the other side, that bit will move as well, so you haven't got to do both of them separately. So once this is right and it's happy with it, then you start tightening these screws back up here. All right, what I did, it's like, for me, it was like doing up a wheel on a tyre on a car. Is you start, don't just go round in a circle doing all the nuts up, because it'll unbalance the wheel. What you do is you do one side first, then the other side, this side, and then that one, and then this one. You don't have to do it like that, it's just the way I did it because I felt better doing it that way. So once those are all tightened, remove your square. So once you've happy that you've recalibrated the blade against the fence, move the blade out of the way, obviously undoing that little pull out there, that little stopper, lift it out of the way. And the next stage is you need your Phillips screwdriver, and what you do is you undo this. I'm not going to do it because obviously mine's just been set up. Undo the Phillips screwdriver, you only need it about half a turn if that, and then this will be obviously loose. So line it up, the red line with the 0, and then just tighten your Phillips screwdriver up again. That's that bit done. So all you need to do now is just to make sure what you've done, the calibration's spot on. If not, you can always go back and just keep doing it till you're happy with what you've done. Grab yourself a bit of wood, a bit of pine, just make sure it's deep enough, wide enough just to make sure you can get an accurate reading with your square. Grab your bit of wood, bring it over to the saw, and then just cut through. You don't need to do it once. Obviously make sure fingers out of the way. You wear your safety gear, goggles, mask and ear protection while you're doing this. And then you just check with your square just to make sure that your cut is accurate. Obviously you'll need to make sure that you reset your square because you set it up for calibration against the blade and the fence, so you're going to need to move that down slightly, just make sure it's long enough to line up against the edge of the bit of wood, and then check, make sure everything's square, as is mine is absolutely spot on. I did this earlier on, about 10 minutes ago, and that's it, job done. Right then, that's it, plain and simple. Hope it's easy enough for you to follow. First time I've ever done it, and I did it spot on first time. It's not difficult. You do have your instructions, which are easy enough to follow, that came with the saw. If not, get on the internet, have a look up there, and everything's there. I mean, it doesn't matter what size saw it is, because they're all exactly the same, just different size cuts, that's all that is. But the setup is exactly the same. So, if you've enjoyed it and it's been helpful, please give a thumbs up. If not, then do what you got to do. I'm in the middle of trying to set up a new YouTube channel with hints and tips on various subjects, not just saws, it's just anything really that I come across that I think you might find helpful. So if you like it, give us a thumbs up, like I said, and speak to you soon. Ta-ta.